Hello, everyone, and welcome to the December 2025 edition of We're Linking Up Iron Sharpens Iron. This segment is entitled Kill Your Comfort for Professional Growth. Now, a widely accepted business caption is location, location, location. In some locations, the customers may not be as receptive of your goods and services, while in other locations, you may thrive beyond measure. Most businesses are in fact started where? In their home base, a place that is familiar, a place of comfort, a safety zone, if you will. This is where we perceive that we can do the most good and be the most influential. But if you ever want to scale upward, be a bigger and better brand, you must relinquish familiarity and perceived bounds of safety for new territories. Now, for some, this could look like relocating your headquarters. For others, it could mean expanding your operations to varying states. For some others, it could mean expanding sales to an online platform. Nevertheless, you must not be comfortable in one place and make yourself flexible and open to move around. Now, in August edition, I created a mantra. I said, elevate or die. And as we close 2025 and enter 2026, it's time to elevate. To illustrate my point of why you must kill your comfort for professional growth, I will be sharing from Luke 4:29 through 30 and Mark 6:1 through 6. So even Jesus had to kill his comfort to elevate his ministry. He had limited productivity in his own hometown, his familiarity, his comfort zone. He had to move around to get the best results. So, here's the story. In the book of Mark, Jesus pulled up to his hood, his hometown, giving main character energy with his entourage, the disciples. He went to the church he grew up in and started teaching and performing miracles in front of all the who's who, the A-list celebrities, lawyers, doctors, scientists, politicians, professors, mega church pastors, okay? People who we esteem to be important people in today's society. Everybody was fascinated by Jesus' wisdom and his gifts. Then the admiration turned into hate and jealousy. These big timers started saying stuff like, who does he think he is? Trying to look important and show us up. And as Gen X, Gen Z, and the Alpha Gen would say, he's flogging, he's capping, he's stunning, he's flexing. All of these are synonymous with someone who's being a fake. So Jesus' people in his hometown called him a fake. So they started downplaying him and reflecting on what they knew about him from his past. And they were saying things like, I remember when he was born. I remember he was born in a barn and wrapped in rags. I know where he came from. I knew his mama, I knew his daddy, and his whole family. We grew up on the same side of the railroad tracks, or we grew up in the same projects. He's no one special because we're from the same place. We're from the same town. And then Jesus responded, "It is such a shame that people in your own hood, in your own community, won't clap for you and give you your props." And because his classmates and folks from the community rejected him so bad, because they hated on him so hard, he couldn't perform to his fullest potential. And the Bible says that he was limited in whatever miracles he could perform because of the unbelief and what we call hateration. So then in Luke 4:29-30, this verse talks about how his own people, again, his own cousins and them, they got so envious that they mobbed him and tried to jump him and push him off a cliff. That is how jealous and full of hatred they were towards him. So, back to the business perspective. Location, location, location. You cannot keep casting your net on the same side of the boat and expecting the same results. You must cast your net on the other side to catch new fish and more fish. But what you don't do is you don't give up. Change your strategy and your location, but don't change your mission and your purpose and your why and your standards. Those are your non-negotiables. So, here are 5 things that can happen when you get too comfortable in one place. Number 1, there is a psychological principle known as emotional transactions or emotional bank accounts, and we all have them. So the emotional bank account triggers us to act in ways to gain acceptance and approval from the people in our circle. Acceptance feels good. People pleasing gives us an emotional high. We perceive it as love, despite the reality that our connections may be draining ties. When it comes to business, these ties are not only emotionally draining, but they could be financially draining as well. As soon as the emotional bank account of a loved one is empty, and let's just say you're the only one that's filling that bank account, what do you think is going to end up happening? That was think time. But you already know, but I'm going to mention it anyway. You will exhaust your resources quickly, and your accounts will be empty, not only financially but emotionally. Jesus did not waste his time on people who downplayed him. And where were these people from? Again, his place of familiarity and where he grew up, and the place people would call home, his safe space, so to speak, his hometown. So when you're too comfortable, people will be too comfortable with you, and they will take you for granted. Number 2, you lose ingenuity and sparks of creativity. The average person avoids risk, but you are an entrepreneur. You are a business owner. You are a dreamer. So you are not the average person. If your creativity and ingenuity got you started, got you believing, got you pursuing your dream, it is the same thing that will help you grow and elevate as you move forward. So, when things are predictable and they seem to be going all right, there is no push to do anything better. And let's face it, without challenges, we have no reason to be creative, because creativity is our survival mechanism. It is what fuels our passion and has us to stand out and be unique from all other people. So, when we are provoked and we have to find solutions, our solutions lie in our ability to be innovative and think of things that the typical average person would not think of. So, moving out of the comfort zone will cause you to be creative, and it also will teach you how to build tenacity and diligence. So, the way that Jesus explained things, he was creative. His methods were unorthodox, which was one of the reasons that he was rejected as much as he was. The way that he illustrated things confounded the wise. The people who thought that they were the smartest of the smart, when Jesus demonstrated or explained principles of life, they were astonished and they were confused as to how he could take something so simple and explain it in a way that made sense from kids from 1 to 92. Okay? So, whether you believe in Jesus or not, he's still spoken of today, and he goes down in history as one of the greatest teachers for using his creativity and not letting comfort keep him in one central location. So ultimately, we all need to move away from our comfort zone to put greater things in effect in our lives. Number 3, being too comfortable will have you neglecting personal growth. Iron sharpens iron. And so what if you are the shiniest butter knife in the drawer? You're still just a butter knife in a world of ninja swords, machetes, and butcher knives. Now, to chop like a butcher knife, you must be in the drawers with the butcher knives. The people who you keep company with are the people who you become like. So, back to Jesus. his disciples were not from his hometown, his home base. They were people that he met along the way. And these were people who accepted the call and left everything behind to follow him. So not just anybody could roll with Jesus, because one man, and it sounds a little cruel, but this is how sold out and committed you had to be. One man said, "Oh, well, my family member just died, and I'll roll with you once we bury them, and after the funeral, I'll come with you." And Jesus said, "No, you either come now or not at all." So not just anybody could follow him. You had to be committed to the cause, committed to the objective of spreading the ministry and the gospel. So again, back to the people who you surround yourself with. Jesus, his word was like a sword, a sharp two-edged sword. So that meant that however he swung that sword, however he delivered that word, it cut and it had an effect. So Jesus was no butter knife. So if you are around butter knives or people who don't want to be any sharper, be any wiser, then you can't cut anything but butter. So Jesus' disciples, they had to learn how to cut like a two-edged sword the way that Jesus did, by applying the principles and the teachings so that the ministry could be effective. So again, I beseech that you look at who is around you and look at whether or not they are willing and sold out to the mission of wherever you're trying to go and whatever the vision is. And those people may not necessarily be people who are from your own hometown or people that were your childhood friends. So the point is, you want people that share the vision with you. Okay, so moving forward, what I would like to say before I move to the next point is that I'm going to use incorrect grammar, but it's for what is called rhetorical effect. You ain't, yes, you ain't doing nothing big if people are not threatened by your performance. Curiosity didn't kill the cat. Mediocrity did, though. People who want to stay complacent and not adapt to change, those are the people that end up not growing. And like I said, this is the season you elevate or you waste away. So there will be people that think your opinions are not good, or they think your ideas are not good, or they think that your dreams are not good dreams. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. But look at who's giving you this feedback. Are these swords? Are these machetes? Are these butcher knives? Or are they from the butter knife bunch? And typically, people that are overly critical of your dreams and your ideas are from the butter knife bunch. And again, what can they cut except for butter? So, if you dare to work on yourself to become sharper and seek to reach your full potential through moving yourself out of the comfort zone and learning new things, you will be opposed by people that don't want to pay the cost of success. Again, the butter knife bunch. And those certain group of people will also attempt to guilt you and shame you for your dreams and for pursuing your dreams and implementing your dreams. And just like in the story of the little red hen, so the little red hen had to do everything to prepare to bake this bread. And she asked all her friends, all the other farm animals, to help her mix the dough, harvest the wheat, and so forth and so on. All the things it took to make bread from scratch. And then when she baked it and it came out of the oven and it was smelling so delicious, here comes the fox and the horse and whatever the characters were. Here they come asking for a slice of bread. And she said, you didn't help me bake the bread, you didn't help me harvest the wheat, you didn't do anything, so you don't get to partake of the fruit of my labor. So it kind of goes back to, just be watchful with who you're surrounding yourself with. Are you building a team that is working with you, or is the team working against you? And again, like I said, Jesus chose people to be on his team that were willing to demonstrate that they were dedicated to the cause. So are the people on your team dedicated to the cause? Are you trying to make butter knives become butcher knives? So you just have to roll with who's ready and willing and who's teachable. Okay, so if you are rejected and opposed, you're in good company. Last month on Iron Sharpens Iron, I talked about Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's, who established a multi-million-dollar franchise. And Dave Thomas, a little bit about him, he did not have a high school diploma. Later in life, he went back in the latter years of his life before his passing. He got a GED. But when he started, he did not have a formal education, and he was an orphan. So he didn't have the best beginnings growing up. But he was determined to make something out of himself. So can you imagine how all the people that he grew up around that had the MBAs and the PhDs and the best-selling authors and, all of these people, how they felt when Dave Thomas actually blew up? And I'm sure they felt foolish because they were not expecting an orphan and someone with less than a high school education to be as influential as he was. So when you see becoming the sword is not a title. It's not a position. It is a mentality. Then you'll be able to cut like a sword. So it's not about where you're from or how you started. It's about sharpening the mindset to set yourself up to embrace challenges as they come and not run from them. So, as I mentioned before, Jesus was mobbed, and the people, his people, tried to throw him off a cliff. But he did not stop. He just moved his ministry to another location, right? He spread the gospel all over. So, the point is, you just can't get too comfortable. So, for my final point, number 5, no growth, no existence. Growth and development is not a one-hitter quitter. It is a lifelong cycle. Every day, you're going to have to learn something new because no day repeats itself. So, there was that movie with Tom Hanks, Groundhog Day. I love that movie. And every day the alarm went off at 7 o'clock, and the same thing happened every day until he learned his lesson. And then when he learned his lesson, then it could be the day after. Well, we don't live in that reality. Our reality is that every day is a brand new day. And every day we have to find a new way because yesterday is gone. So we have to live for the current time that we're in. What we could do with the yesterday is take those lessons, okay, and use them to be smarter, wiser, and better than we were yesterday. But the same principles don't apply every single day. So you have to be flexible and versatile in thinking, okay, well, this is this day. So let's look at where we are and move from there and learn from our yesterdays. And that's what yesterdays are for. So either way, you must always be willing to find a way to make it work within the new day. So anything that is not learning or developing or growing is dying, is withering away. And growth is growth. Even if it's slow, it's still growth. With that being said, the turtle and the hare. So the hare was the fastest forest creature in the woods, and he could outrun anybody. So when he bragged and challenged that turtle to a race, he just knew he had it in the bag. He was so cocky and confident that he took a nap during the race. And that turtle kept moving, and he kept pressing, and he didn't look at the fact that he was the slowest in the forest. He just looked at, I'm going to do the best I can with who I am. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm just going to work with what I got. And I'm going to be dedicated and devoted, and I'm going to make my way. And he did. And while that rabbit was over there sleeping because he was a narcissist, thinking that he couldn't be beat, and especially not by a slow turtle, the turtle walked right on past